Stay until the end because I'm gonna tell you guys a story about how one of these movies had such an impactful effect on my life that I ended up ending things with my college crush at the time because I thought having a girlfriend would be too time-consuming. A movie made me make that decision. Movies can have a very impactful effect on our lives. It could change the way that we think. Before watching these movies, I didn't think, oh, I should be doing this, I should be thinking this, I should be wasting my time on this and not these things. And in today's video, I've chosen 4 movies that have had that impactful effect on my life. And I'm hoping that it also brings positive changes in you guys' lives as well. The first movie on our list is Catch Me If You Can, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's about a man named Frank Abagnale. Frank Abagnale was one of the most iconic con artists in American history. Frank was able to fake being a Pan-American pilot, he was able to fake being a doctor, and he was able to fake being a lawyer, and he did all of this before the age of 19. And the entire movie is based on actual events that happened in Frank Abagnale's life. And honestly, it's one of my favorite movies of all time because this movie shows you the power of presentation. How you carry yourself, how you talk, that complete package of how you present yourself truly determines how others around you treat you. And those presentation abilities to be able to literally fake that part so that people around him believe that he truly is this young pilot. And the same thing goes with him being a fake doctor and a fake lawyer. The point that I'm making with this movie is not to tell you guys, all right, go outside and start scamming people. But what this movie actually does teach you is how to use those powers. Charisma, presentation, the confidence that you should exude, all of these things can be used in a positive manner as well. And watching this movie at the age of, I think, 16 or 17, I was like, all right, I'm gonna educate myself in the next networking event that I go to. So the power of presentation truly does matter and determine how others around you view you and whether they see through your bullshit or not. And also this movie taught me that maybe a lot of people that you and I look up to, that could be our idols, they could probably be faking it too. You never know, right? Just because they dress the part, or they talk the part, or they walk, or they present themselves in that manner, it's possible that they could be faking it as well. So maybe if you exude that same charisma, that same confidence, you could also read through those people that are faking it as well. And also it's an amazing movie, just watch it. Number 2 on our list is probably a little bit generic, and you're probably gonna be like, dude, come on, really? Who doesn't like this movie? Oh, you're right, everyone loves it, and it's Fight Club. And the reason why I picked this movie is because it had that impactful effect on my life. I always ask myself when I'm facing a challenge, what would Tyler Durden do? Brad Pitt in this movie is a complete badass. Everyone that watches this movie, especially at a young age, they're like, dude, I really want to be like Brad Pitt. I want to be a badass like him as well. Not in the sense that you want to go and start beating up people, but exuding that physical confidence, right? We talked about emotional confidence with Catch Me If You Can, but you want to exude that physical confidence as well. How you walk, walking tall, how you face your fears, all of these things matter. And this movie is responsible for that question that I always ask myself when I do face that fear. What would Tyler Durden do? I'm not afraid of a lot of things in life. The only thing that I'm afraid of are heights. And as a man that grew up life in Russia, and one of my hobbies in Russia was to climb my condominium complex's rooftop, I'm talking like 14, 15 stories, and on the roof would play soccer as 8, 9, 10-year-olds. And you think somebody with that mentality that grew up in that environment, I shouldn't be scared of heights. At this time of my life, I do not do well with heights. So a lot of times I face a peak after a hike in a mountain, and I'm a little scared to climb that peak because I think I'm gonna fall to my demise, to my death. I ask myself, what would Tyler Durden do? And as cliche as that sounds, it gives you that little bit of confidence boost. I push myself to be able to climb and face my fear. Let's put some peaks that I climbed. One of these is gonna be Cave Rock in Lake Tahoe. If you know where this is, it's not that scary, but to me, it's a challenge. And I did it thanks to Tyler Durden. Number 3 on our list is The Count of Monte Cristo. And it tells the story of Edmond Dantes, who was betrayed by those closest to him, where he gets wrongfully imprisoned. He seeks revenge against those that betrayed him. What an awesome movie. I didn't watch it until I was, I think, like 20 or 21. But the message in this movie is so powerful because it teaches you about betrayal, being betrayed by those closest to you, and vengeance, the 2 most stressful and powerful things that people go through in their lives. You know how badly it feels to be betrayed by a friend, a family member, somebody treats you a certain way. So it's human nature where you think, all right, he treated me this way, therefore I must return the favor, give them a taste of their own medicine. But as this movie progresses, you see that Edmund, the main character, starts playing with the power of forgiveness and empathy. And instead of looking to gain that vengeance from those that betrayed him, he starts forgiving them. And when I watched this movie, I was like, that's crazy. First of all, not only am I gonna waste less time if I don't let a lot of people get in my head, but it's also such a powerful feeling to forgive somebody that doesn't do good to you. Because 80% of the time, people that you think betrayed you, people that you think do you wrong, and you think that you gaining that vengeance 80% of the time, it's a waste of your time. Unless this person took something from you that belongs to you, and then you can go and grab that back. A lot of times it's petty vengeance, right? They did this to me, therefore I must do that back to them as well. And it's so much easier just to be like, all right, you wanna live that life? Go ahead, I forgive you. I don't wanna deal with it. I have better things to do with my time. And this is what that movie taught me. So now when I drive, I would say I have probably 65% less road rage. I'm not gonna lie, in my early 20s, I was very hot-headed. I used to let people get in my head. I used to get in a lot of fights. I used to argue a lot and think, okay, this person didn't do me well. I must do this. I must go back and call them and talk to them. But growing up and watching movies like this, it truly teaches you that your time is worth so much more, and you just forgive and forget and live your life. Our movie number 4, this is where the story comes in, the infamous leaving my crush story. This movie is Jobs, and I know there's a lot of movies based on Steve Jobs, the one specifically played by Ashton Kutcher. I'm gonna try to keep this as candid as possible. I remember I was a freshman in college, so 18. I was sitting in my living room. It was me and my brothers. We played this movie. I've always been very interested by someone's success story. We all knew about Steve Jobs and that he created Apple, but how he created Apple and how he went from this hippie in college that does drugs and walks barefooted around the campus to somebody that creates the biggest company in the world. That entire story resonated with me so much that I ended up literally changing the way I live my life past 18. At the time, I had a job at the bank. I was a teller and I worked very little hours, like peak time, not even part-time, like 16, 17 hours a week. So I barely made enough money to just cover my expenses. I had a normal car and I was talking to this girl who was my crush. I liked her, she liked me, things were going well. And after watching this movie, I felt so ambitious to do something with my life. Literally the next day, create a side hustle, something where my life excels financially, mentally, emotionally, and I build the way to my 20s and 30s and so on. That movie impacted me so much. I wasn't an asshole enough to text her, but I called the girl. I was like, hey, listen, you know, I have this thing coming up at work, or I just want to pick up more hours and I have to travel here. I lied a little bit. I was like, I have to travel to Los Angeles and do this. I have to do a lot of things for work. You know, I really truly want to focus on school and just building my life. I didn't tell her it was because of a movie. She'd been like, dude, are you serious? You were leaving me because of a movie? But I ended up making something up. It wasn't a good end, obviously, because she was upset. I was also upset, but I knew it's something that I had to do to excel my life. And what this movie teaches you is that we all have ambitions. We all have ideas. We all want to be something in life, but a lot of us don't take that first step and don't chase that dream. No one else is going to believe in your dream until you do, until you build that product and show it to somebody and you're like, hey, I made a computer, or hey, I made an iPhone. Do you want to buy it now? Before the iPhone, before the Mac, nobody believed in Steve Jobs' ideas. But until he built that first product, they showcased it at the kiosk at one of the events that he held, then people started believing in him, people started investing in him, and that's how he created the company that is worth trillions of dollars today. So if that girl's ever gonna watch this video, I'm gonna apologize that I did that to you, but if I hadn't done that, I would not have started the side hustle that I started, which ended up paying for my school, for my college. Because of this movie, I started buying and selling cars, I started my own side hustle, and that side hustle made me way more money than I made at the bank, and I literally paid off my college tuition with that money that I made. All right, 2 things. First, let me know if you've seen any of these movies that I've mentioned today and what impact they've had on your lives. And 2, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, show me some love, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.